Good morning. My name is Sean Campbell with the CEO of TheHomeMag, and this is Chris Goebel.
Hi, I serve as the company's president. Sean and I want to tell you about our experience with ActionCOACH.
Yeah, it was about 18 months ago that we were actually introduced to ActionCOACH. However, our executive training has only been for the past 5 months, and maybe you'd like to share why it took us so long to get engaged.
Sometimes you just got to get out of your own way, I guess is what it is. November of '08, right at that precipice of the lights going out on the world with respect to the economy, we attended a very long, identified as a full-day session locally. And boy, when we came out of that, we just thought we were missing some opportunities. But our minds were then taken away with keeping our business afloat and really trying to find opportunities on a downward slide where we could actually start improving. And so for a whole year, we hemmed and hawed with actually engaging with ActionCOACH.
And I think the critical question comes to anyone that's in business, and especially if you have an entrepreneurial spirit, that you can always do it yourself. I mean, that's generally what we all always feel and think. The difference here, of course, is that when you're fully engaged in trying to do your daily activities, you don't see the big picture. And what had actually happened is we had grown from a company of 8 people to a company of 160, and we truly needed that extra input.
One of the things in traditional business, accounting, there's a handful of businesses that don't close the books in a month. The good businesses in America will actually close their books and have a meeting about what they've done. The wild thing about ActionCOACH is let's address what you've done as a means to discovering what you're going to do. And I thought that was one of the most revealing components. And if you speak to traditional accounting, they won't get it, and that's okay, because even in our system here, our controller finally embraced the whole concept of VCAR or forecasting. And what happened then is we started thinking about our business in terms of the future and forecasting banking money, forecasting operational profit, how do we grow operational profit. And this all really was born back in December of '09 when we sat down for a very long 2-day session that, of course, all of us begrudgingly did because it was going to take time out of our day. But what we discovered is if we don't do this, we're just going to keep doing what we did. And boy, now we have those quarterly sessions. Sean and I every Wednesday meet on professional coaching independent of each other, and I tell you, my whole mind is swimming about opportunities and thinking about pockets of revenue and pockets of operational profit that we can expose and reveal. We're not just responsible for this business. We have 26 magazines across this country that are benefiting from what we're doing here. So this is really flowing through the pipeline.
No, it's absolutely flowing through the pipeline, and it's, when I first met ActionCOACH, my first idea was, the franchisees need this more than we do. So the whole idea was, let's get the franchisees on board with a coaching system, and let's get all the franchisees operating to their maximum. What I didn't realize and what I didn't see coming was the fact that we all know franchisees don't listen anyway to the franchisor generally. So what actually happened in a roundabout way is that we became engaged as a franchisor, and now we have franchisees calling us up saying, "Can I have some of that?" And this is the difference. I truly believe that in the next 12 months or so, most of our franchisees will be asking to be part of the ActionCOACH training. And that's not because we're telling them to, it's because they see the results, they see the incredible difference to what we are doing as a franchisor, and they would like to have a piece of that.
The cool thing about us looking forward is we have to do it differently than what we've been doing, right? So ActionCOACH comes in and says, you really need to hone your skills as a company to find that you have the right people in place to execute the right plan in place to go get what you're forecasting. The wild thing about all this is, here's the blessing. We've got the people. We've even added one because of our Action Coach meetings.
Sure.
The whole team, the dozen of us, have incredible clarity about not only what we're supposed to do and what we're responsible for, but what the other 11 are.
Right.
That's pretty
And
powerful.
I think what's very powerful about the positional agreements that we've created is that, you know, if I have become so clear about my position and more focused about what I'm doing every day, which as an entrepreneur I found incredibly difficult to do, because, you know, every day I come in, I try and solve a problem. And you know, it's not about solving problems, it's about, you know, asking the right questions and then working in your area. And my function, my daily function has done a 180, and I'm now as the CEO, I now trust my team, you know, to do everything, which allows me the freedom to actually go and look ahead and look around the corner. And that's come through understanding and myself, my own position, as well as knowing that the whole team is understanding their positions far better.
Right.
And this is the beginning. I mean, we really haven't even had 6 months of this.
5 months.
5 months of this, and the positional agreements have been 4 weeks old, and the whole company has shifted, in my opinion.
You mentioned earlier about questions, about being able to ask questions and discover answers. And that's exactly, if you really think about it, that's exactly what Action Coach has done for us. They don't walk in and say, here it is, here's a magic book, read it, and go off, which is quite common, unfortunately. People read a book and they get inspired and they go execute, but they're never trained and coached on how to execute. And of course, you have, you know, Dale and Heather and Ian who come in here and they ask probing questions because they want to try to move you to the spot. And they do it differently for you than they do me.
Sure.
And even the 10 other folks. So the wild thing is, we get to discover our own successes without being force-fed.
Right.
Which I think is which is coaching, of course.
Yeah.
You know, any successful coach, any successful leader doesn't provide answers. They ask the right questions.
Right.
And that's what these guys have done. And for me, it's been a great amount of discovery about myself, even after 24 years in business. I am probably more prepared today than I ever was, regardless of the economy. But if you're doing what we do, which is growing our business, growing other businesses, putting out a national brand, which will soon be international, we have to have our eyes on what's very important and never take our eyes on growing operational profit. And I got to tell you, you made a comment about the investment. The annual investment that we've committed to, we've superseded in 4 months.
Sure.
This year compared to last year. In a third of the year, we're ahead, including the investment. And we haven't even done anything yet.
No.
You know, we're introducing a whole bunch of new systems, but man, we haven't even jumped in and rode the bike yet. That's the really cool thing about this.
It took me a while to understand the benefits. It really did, and even then I wasn't sold until, you know, I really got warmed up in it. And 3 months went by, and suddenly all those barriers just dropped away, and suddenly I saw a new clarity altogether about business in general, and especially about this business. And I'm really enjoying the business right now, you know, far more than I ever have. So, you know, my advice to anyone is to believe that you know, there are better ways to make profit, and I say make profit in less man hours. And so engage.